Live Copter 3 over a neighborhood in Folsom tonight where we have a large police presence, including SWAT officers, and you can see that house on fire, a neighborhood blocked right now. Law enforcement in the neighborhood. These pictures show how a house is surrounded by police and firefighters. It is chaotic and it is dangerous.
Thank you for joining us for our news tonight at 7. I'm Edie Lambert.
And I'm Curtis Ming. It's happening right now on River Ridge Way in Folsom. KCRA 3's Andres Valle is live there in that neighborhood with what he found out.
Yeah, so Curtis, Edie, what we just found out right now, confirmed by Sacramento Fire, is that there is a person barricaded inside that home right there. So right now, fire crews are taking a very defensive approach about putting out the flames right now. You can see those Sacramento fire ladders up in the air as they're dousing water over this home right now. You can still see some of those flames still basically coming up from that house right there. But again, we do know that SWAT officers are on scene. We saw those SWAT vehicles come here into this area of River Ridge Way. We're standing on River Ridge Way in Patton Circle. This is where a homeowner allowed us to be on his property, but Folsom Police has pushed a lot of people out of this area. They've asked people who are living in this area to shelter in place. As you can see from Live Copter 3 right now, it is a pretty large police and fire presence here right now. We did touch base with Folsom Police and as well as Sac Metro Fire. They're currently on the way to the scene to provide us more information, but what we do know now, confirmed here at 7 o'clock, is that one person was barricaded inside, then that fire started. So fire crews had to take a defensive approach of handling these flames. They're trying to contain that fire to that single home further down here on River Ridge Way. So because of the SWAT situation, they can't fully get their crews inside the home because, again, we don't know if this person is armed, how dangerous this person could be. But again, we do know that where this fire is, there was a barricaded subject inside. That's why there's a heavy police presence here. And again, those fire crews are using those ladders right now to hose things down. So again, information still very limited at this time. It's very much an evolving scene here, and it's still really early of what we can get confirmed. But again, that's what we have right now is an active fire in this home with that barricaded subject. But for now, we're going to send things back over to you guys in studio.
And as we watch these live pictures right here, what we do know is that we have fire trucks on each side of this property there on this same street, River Ridge Way. They're about 1.5 houses away, and they're pouring water at a distance on this particular fire. But at this point, Andres, as we bring you back in, just curious, do we have any idea why they were looking for this suspect, what that situation was when this person reportedly barricaded themselves inside?
You know what, Curtis, all we know is that it was around 5:30 or so. That's when police crews first got here about that barricaded subject. Now, we don't know how many people were inside that home, but when we first arrived here, I think it was right at 6:30, there was only just light smoke coming from that home, and they were allowing people to get a little bit further. I like to call them looky-loos. There were a lot of neighbors out here trying to videotape this with their phones, and then it was right around 6:45 when we were live on air where they started asking people to shelter in place and started pushing people back. So again, we don't know the state of this armed subject, or this, I should say, this subject who's barricaded in there. We don't know if he's still inside, or so again, that's why I'm saying it's very much an evolving scene right now going on here.
Yeah, you would assume that one of the things the SWAT team would want to know is if this is even survivable for anybody who would have been in that home. You mentioned earlier that you may have seen a drone. Can you tell us any more about that? That may have been something that they'd be used to just try to figure out what's going on in that house.
No, yeah, we did see that drone go up. I have not seen it in the past 10 or 12 minutes or so. I think right now they're focusing more on this firefight rather than trying to get that barricaded subject out. And again, trying to make sure that fire is contained to this single home and for it not to spread to other areas. But again, even if we bring it back to our shot here, you can see those, it looks like Sac Sheriff actually just arrived on scene, but again, a lot more heavy machinery. We have those, that arrests going in, so we've seen SWAT officers on scene as well. It looks like they're beginning to approach the home, but I also told you this earlier around during the 6:30 portion of our newscast that there's also those crisis counselors on scene as well. So I think they were hoping to make contact with that barricaded subject and try to, tell him to come outside, but then this fire started to engulf the house. So I think they're mainly focused on making sure everybody else is safe rather than trying to get this person outside of the home.
And as you're talking there, Live Copter 3 getting us some exclusive pictures right now where we see that house is fully involved. We see them attacking this, the firefighters from ladder trucks on both sides. And we also saw firefighters have now made it into the backyard of that home when there's a pool in the backyard of that home, and they are now right there in the backyard.
You know, Andres, one of the things that I was wondering is if you've heard from any neighbors. Looking at the map, there are 15 homes on this block between River Ridge Way, which is, that home is facing that street, and Oak Rim Way on the back side. And, you know, these homes are pretty close to one another. Are you able to talk to any neighbors about what this may be like to witness this?
It's been very brief, our conversations with these neighbors, because again, when we showed up, it was, running out the door, try to get as much information as possible. What we've heard so far is basically police telling people at first, oh, somebody's just having a bad day, to try to get them back inside into their homes because they don't want them crowding the streets while, again, fire crews and other emergency crews are trying to access this. They are giving the perception of this is extremely crazy to come home to because, again, this is after 5 p.m. Many people are out walking the dog, coming back home from work or from school. So it's just there is a decent amount of neighbors out here just watching this all unfold because this does come off as a very quiet area, quiet neighborhood as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And something like this just has to be managed on so many levels. Obviously, trying to keep all those neighbors safe, trying to keep the firefighters themselves safe, not knowing what you're dealing with the person who was the subject of the criminal side of this.
And Sac Metro Fire now confirming with us that they're taking a defensive posture, of course, because they're trying to keep the flames to that main home. So they are attacking it there from the air. We did see firefighters right there on the other side of the pool from the home, but they have made it into the yard. But when you hear barricaded, here we are. They just turned on some water there from the backyard. So they're now attacking this from a third location as they try to control these flames. But when you hear somebody barricaded inside the home, so many questions come up. We don't know if this is somebody who lives there. We don't know if it's somebody who perhaps committed a crime and somehow entered this home, or maybe were caught in the act. So we don't know exactly what the situation is right now with the person who is inside that home, and whether it's just one person or whether there are other people inside that home.
Yeah, and with a situation like this, you also don't know what might be stored in the home, whether there might be ammunition or something like that could also be volatile. So we are going to take a quick break from this coverage, but again, obviously we're there on the scene monitoring the situation, and we'll bring you information as this changes.